Hello, welcome to the Gathering Academy. If you are listening on your favorite podcast app, just know that some of the things that we will be covering are best when viewed on a computer screen. So if you can go to the YouTube channel and look for this week's podcast that does not say audio only, that will take you to the video version. We will be sharing some things on the computer screen that will help you in furthering your family history. So I have made some amazing discoveries this week with AI. I've told you in the past that I love Claude, and I still love Claude. But I have discovered that Gemini has some amazing features that can help you with documents like family letters, things that might be sitting in your closet or in boxes and you might be feeling very overwhelmed with. So I'm going to walk you through how to access Google Gemini. There is a free version and there is a paid version. The free version allows you to do a limited number of searches or requests, and then it maxes out for the day. So test it out. If you max out, there is an option to do a trial, and I signed up for the trial this weekend. The trial is, for me, it was, and I would assume it would be for you as well, it was $1.99 a month for 3 months. And then they will automatically bump it up to around $20 a month after that. So what I did is I took my phone and I set a reminder for a couple of days before it's supposed to bill me the $20 in case I don't like it or I find another platform is performing better in 3 months. As we've talked about before, they're constantly changing. They're competing against each other and they're getting better and better. So I set that reminder and I set it for several days in a row because sometimes I don't see the reminder. And that way I have the option to cancel if I want. So I'm going to take you and we're going to share screen. And we're going to share the entire screen. Here we go. All right. So I'm going to take you into Gemini. How do you get to Gemini? So let's go into our little search. So you go to your search bar up at the top and you can just type in Gemini and then you'll see this is the result. Google Gemini should pop up near the top. It's where I'm in Chrome right now. When I was in Safari, ChatGPT came up ahead of it, but you'll look for Google Gemini and there's free access to Gemini. The free version isn't quite as robust, but it may be perfect for what you need. When you first come in, you'll see this page and it says chat with Gemini. So you can click on that and then it gives you a little bit of information about what it does. And I'm just going to say no thanks. And if I do that, then it's not going to allow me to use it. So I guess I need to give it permission. So I'm going to say use Gemini. So it's going to use some of the information that I give it to improve. And let's see. So I'm just going to say, it will save my chats for 3 days. I do want that. So I'm going to turn that on. That way I can go back and look at it. So this is the free version. And Gemini says, I'm ready to help you plan, study, bring ideas to life and more. In the center is this little chat box. This is where you're going to enter your information. You'll ask a question. You can type it in or you can use this little microphone on this right-hand side and you can speak. So for instance, if I have a letter like this that I want to transcribe, I'll click on the microphone. So click here and I need to say allow while using the site. Please transcribe this letter. Please keep the original format and line length. If you come across any words or letters that you are unsure of, use brackets and a question mark within. So I can put that in there and then I can ask it to transcribe a letter. So since we're in the free version right now, we're going to test it with this letter that I had. It was in a pile of information that I got from my great Aunt Melba. So I have taken pictures of it with my phone. You can use an Android, you can use an iPhone, and I didn't even do it very carefully. I just laid it on my table. I took my picture, and then because I do have an iPhone, and a Mac computer, I have the ability to airdrop it, which means it just shares it from my phone to my computer. You don't have to have Mac products to do this. The easiest way to do this is to actually use the app on your phone, take a picture of the letter, and then when you're in the app, you'll be able to use the same type of format that I'm going to show you to upload the picture, and it will give you the same information. So I just want to show you here this binder. I pulled this binder out this afternoon. So many of you probably have a binder or a box with all sorts of information, pictures and letters and family group sheets. We're going to talk a little bit about these. You may have inherited the big old book of remembrances with all the family group sheets. So I pulled that off the shelf and I thought, I'm going to test this with this letter. So I have taken a picture, I uploaded it to my computer, and we're going to say agree. So now I'm going to say upload files. And it's right here on my computer. I can see these images. So this is page 1. So I click on that. And do you see how it highlighted this in blue? So now the blue open, I will click on that. That's page 1. Then I click on the plus button in the bottom left corner. Upload another file. This is page 2. Open that one. And then I'm going to do page 3, upload file. I want to do it in order so that it will not confuse the computer or the AI. Now that I've got these uploaded, I'm going to, there's a fast version and there's a thinking version. Let's see if you can do the thinking version with the free version. I'm going to say submit. And it takes a second for it to go through the letter, to think about it, to analyze it. Now it's deciphering the cursive script. I'm very curious to see if there's a big difference between the free version and the paid version, considering I just started using the paid version and I'm going to be testing it more and more. I just was so excited for you to try that this week and see if it can help you with some of the stuff that may be overwhelming. You may be feeling the pressure of, I've got all these letters, I really need to do something with them. So it's going through now. That took about 20 seconds and it went through, and I'm already noticing, because I've used the paid version, and I'm already noticing a huge difference in the format. So let's just kind of scroll through down here. Do you see how this is a little bit disjointed? You can see that there's spaces here. There's these little characters here that I'm not sure, with a dollar sign and the number 2. And we've got the second page. So it didn't do a bad job. If you look at it, it looks like it makes sense. If I compare the Dear Martha, just a line or 2 to tell you how I am. And then it says, it looks like it didn't put any punctuation. She actually didn't have any punctuation in that letter. Okay, so that's an example of what it looked like. So it's doing a pretty good job. There may be only a few things that I would necessarily need to change, but I want to show you the version that is, I'm going to switch my account. Let's see, I need to go to a different account. Let me see, cancel. I don't want to do that. I just want to switch accounts. Here we go. I'm going to add my account. So let's get in here. All right, we should be in now, and we can use the no thanks. All right, now we're in my other Google account. So let's go to Gemini. And here it popped up down below. And it still is in my old account. So I'm going to flip to my other account. All right. And I'm going to connect my drive to it. Let's see if it'll let me connect all. I'm just connecting all of mine because I really want to test all of my Google accounts that I use. So if you're not a Google user, you can still test out Gemini. You don't have to have a Google account to try it for free. Look at the difference in the format. So here it's personalized. It says, "Hi, Colette," and it gives me a lot more information. Let's go back to the free version. If I go back to the chat, which is this little box with a pencil, just know in both versions they have that. Here's the little chat. And I'm going to click on the free version and it takes me back here. So you can see that it's a little bit different. And over here, these are some of the chats that I've done already, and it saved those for me. So I have quite a few that I've done. So here we go. We're going to do the same question. Let me copy it. So I'm going to just highlight. Actually, you can highlight it or see this little copy prompt. It's this little paper. I can copy the prompt, and I'm going to just paste that in here. So that's what this is called. It's called a prompt. Every time you do it, it's kind of an experiment to see if you like the results. And then the more detailed you are, the better your results. It's more than just doing a Google search, which is just usually a few words. So I'm in the thinking mode. I'm going to use the same mode that I did before. And over in this left side, I will click add files. I'm going to click upload files. And then I will go and I will add one page at a time. You may be able to add more. I just want to make sure that they're all in the same order. And I'm going to be testing this out. I'll let you know in a future episode. How is there a max? How long does it take if you put a lot of pictures in? I've got several binders. Actually, I think 6 binders of letters that my husband and I wrote back and forth to each other for a couple of years. And my goal is to see if I can get all of these transcribed. I remember when I gave it to him back in the 90s, he said, I wonder if someday there will be some kind of technology that will be able to just type this all out for us. And we're in that day right now. So it's pretty amazing. So we've got these letters, and I'm going to do thinking mode and say submit. And let's see, it's probably going to take, it's doing the analysis. We'll see if it's any faster. We're at about 10 seconds and it says it's transcribing it. Still no answer down at the bottom. It's clarifying it, and or maybe about 15 to 20 seconds. Here we go. Now it finally has an answer for us. So we get this breakdown right here. You've got the date, you've got the name, and if you notice right up at the top, I don't know if you can see that, right at the top, there's a little stamp. This is her stationery that had her address, and it did pretty good. It didn't put the Dear Martha on the same line, or it put it on the same line. It should have been below. But it looks, I like this transcription better than the other one. If we compare it, let's go back to the other one. Let's see, is it this one? Yeah. So it's a little bit more disjointed on this one. So we're going to come in here. So you can see that she gave us some genealogical information here. Art and I were married by this reverend at this date in this church. Up here, we can see her birthday, where she was born. So when we scroll down, it says, would you like me to help you research any of the names or locations? So I'm going to go back actually to my previous one that I did earlier. I'm going to go to this letter transcription. So here we are. I did that. This is the one I did earlier. And I did, so you can see it's just a little bit different. I also said, please do not make up any information. So this one did it just a little bit differently. Notice that it has the date and then Mrs. Arthur Johnson on the same line. So the breakdown is just a little bit different. And I think it has to do with the fact that my question or my prompt was a little bit different. But as I read this and compared the original letter, almost everything was correct. We get that same little, this little $sign and the number 2. I don't know why it's throwing in there, but I like how it puts my birthday, April 1st, 1892. I like how that puts that here versus the free version. So it's kind of interesting. She says, P.S. we have no drinking water. I think we have a well today, or to dig a well. We didn't have much rain last summer. One thing that I could do is I could then go and ask AI to find out, was there a drought in Cement, New York in 1961 or in New York, and get a little bit more information about that. So we go through and it has this whole letter that it's transcribed. Once it's transcribed it, watch what I can do. I can click on this little, it looks like 2 sheets of paper next to the thumbs up, thumbs down. If you don't like the results, you can say bad response, good response, let it know so it can do better. But I'm going to copy the response. And then I'm going to go into my family search tree. I already have it open. and I'm going to scroll down, and I'm on Arthur Edwin's page, and it was actually his wife, Mary, who was writing the letter. And I'm going to go to her memories. Notice she has 0 memories. So I've had this letter sitting in my closet for probably 5 years, maybe longer. I now can add this memory with the help of AI. We've been talking for about 10 minutes, but I could have done this faster, probably in about 5 minutes, taking into account logging into my accounts. But I'm going to click on the write. So I click on write, and this is going to allow me to add a story. So I'm going to say letter from Martha Lundell Anderson to Mary Johnson. And I'm going to add actually cousin. She's the wife of her actual cousin, but there we go. And then on the story, all I have to do, if I'm on a Mac, it's Command V, and it pastes it in there. Or if you're on a PC, it's Control V. And I can see that I actually got a little bit of information I did not want to keep. So I'm going to delete that. That was just some comments from the AI. And we scroll up, and we've got the whole letter there. I could change the format if I want. For right now, because of time, I'm just going to leave it all in there. It's better than nothing. I mean, I can really remove that image. And I'm going to actually remove this part, what AI said it would do. And there we go. And I've got the date, so I'm good. And the place I can actually put down here, Cementon, New York, Green, New York. Let's go back. Cementon, Green, New York. And the date of the letter was 23 November 1961. All right, so I've got that. And I say next. And I can make it public and done. So now any of my family will see that I have posted this. It's a public. It can show up on their main page feed. And now I have this actual letter in Family Search. If I wanted to, I can also go to her memories. Since she doesn't have any, I can say add memories and upload. And since I've taken those pictures, they're not that great because I was doing it really fast, but I can just select each of them and say open down here. Where'd my little mouse go? There we go. Open and done. And now it's uploading those images, and I've got them in there. I can go in and crop them, clean them up. But voila. So if you have a lot of information, you've got boxes, you've got binders, and you are just like, I don't know what to do. It's driving me crazy because I know I should do something with it, get it preserved. You now know you can use AI to do this. If all you have is a phone, you can download the Gemini app onto your phone. You can do the same thing that we just demonstrated. They have the same little plus button, and you can attach the pictures from your photo album that's on your phone, and then you'll be able to upload it to your family tree. All right, I want to show you another amazing thing. So actually, let's go back here for a minute. That's the free version. So what it will do after it's done your original query or prompt, then it will come up with another question. It says, would you like me to help you research any of the names or locations mentioned in these letters for your family history? I'm like, wow, that's really cool. But I wanted it to create a research checklist. So I can do that at a later time if I want. But I said, please create a research checklist to further my genealogical research and fill in my tree based on the information in this letter. So then it starts to think. In about 10 to 20 seconds, it gave me a list of things that I can research based on the marriage date she gave me. It says I can contact the parish to request the record, which might list their parents' names. It also gives me a suggestion to look for birth registrations in Plymouth, Pennsylvania, since that's where she was born. And it tells me that it may be at the county level. Do you see how specifically it's giving me information or ideas to further research from one little letter? It also says I can do some immigration or heritage research. So it notes that the Takash and Zwolenski names were Slovak or Eastern European. And then it recommends that I look in the 1900 or 1910 census for John Takash and Anna, and it may give me more information about specifically where in Central Europe or Eastern Europe they came. It also tells me I could look in the Social Security Death Index. Also, I could look for geography or context about the high school, the cemetery, So it's giving me all of these information, and then it gives me this little chart. Is this not amazing? It gives me a summary of the genealogical information that I got, and I can export it to my sheets if I want to. So it'll go to Google Sheets, which is like Excel, because it's within the Google platform. Or I can copy that table. So if I click copy, and then I can paste it. So I could go into, let's go back here to Mary, and I could do it in my Microsoft Word. I could come back into add memories, and it's already added those ones. And I could, where the right, let's see, let's test it. It may not do this on here. Let's see. So it didn't keep the table format, but it did put all of that information in there. So I wanted to demonstrate, I know how I can do this. Let's see, discard changes. Let me see if I can open up a Word document. So I could up a Word document, and I'm going to do a new one. And I'm going to paste it. And there you go. Is that not amazing how it pasted the entire table? So let's go back. All right. So we've got that information. I've showed you how you can quickly add the information that you get transcribed into Family Search. Let's go back to here. And let me go back to this one. So this one that I wanted to go to. So I've got that checklist, and I can ask it to create a checklist that I can then put into Google Docs. So we're going to also show you, I want to show you, what do you do with these? You may be tempted to throw these family group sheets away thinking it's all in Family Search. It's just a bunch of information my grandma wrote. I don't even have the slightest idea of what to do. So I took a picture of this, and I wanted to see what it would do for me. So I have a family group sheet transcription. So we're going to scroll up here. See, this was not a pretty picture. I just threw it on the table, took the picture, and I did a very simple prompt. I said, please transcribe this family group sheet and put it into a table. This is absolutely amazing. So look at this table, and it says this transcription captures the details from the provided family group sheet for Henry Wilfred Johnson family. So automatically there was one error. This, I think, is the only error that I found, but his name is Wolfred, Wolfred, and it thought it was Wilfred, just because that's a pretty common name. Wolfred is not. But when I look at the rest of the information and I compared it, you always want to compare the information that AI gives you. Do not trust it as your researcher. It's your assistant. It helps you to be able to do the work faster, to notice where there's holes, and it will give you ideas of what to do next. So you could take one of these. That's one of my invitations. Find an old letter, find one of these documents, or something else that you've been wanting to get attached to Family Search that's handwritten or typed, and test out using Gemini this week. So I took the picture. It gave me this information in a little table format. And you can see there's some blank spots where I'm missing information. So it's a little bit easier to see them when I'm just looking at this family group sheet. So then I can, if I want to, I can export it to Sheets. I can copy it and then paste it. I also have the ability, let me see where it is, somewhere down here, to share it. I can actually share it to my Google Drive, to my Google Docs. Right down here. So I can click on the three dots more, and I can export it to my docs. So I'm going to say export to my docs. It's creating the document, and what are we at? We're at maybe 5 to 10 seconds. It said a new document's created. I click open docs. Now you need to have a Google account to do this. And look what it did. Is this not amazing? I now have a table for this family. I could work within this, type the information in as I find it, and then I have a record that I could share with maybe my research group or somebody in my family to show where I started, and I can work within this table. Do you see how I can click on this? And if I found his birth date was, 1850, I can type it in there. Is that not amazing? So it's so cool. So let me go back to, where was I at? All right, so here we are. Okay, we're on this family group sheet. So it gives me the information of who submitted it. And this was my second error. So it had my grandma and it had her address as Hubbard Avenue, but when I looked on the actual group sheet, it was Grand Avenue. So you always want to double check everything that it gives you. And then it asked me, would you like me to put this in a specific file or research any of these individuals further? So I didn't want it to do that, but I said, can you make a list of genealogical information I am missing and potential future research tasks? Now, this is mind-blowing. It analyzed it, and then it gives me the information that I'm missing. So it says there's no information for death, date, or location, or christening, children's events. Then it gives me potential future research tasks. So it says, since this family lived primarily in Greene County, you have several excellent local and state resources to tap into. So I've got some short-term tasks. I've got some medium-term tasks. So I can contact a research library. I can go find a grave, local censuses, and it gives me the ones. And then it gives me some ideas, newspapers, land. And so then it asks me another question. So it continues to ask questions to see if it can help you further your goal. And it said, would you like me to draft a search query to use on Family Search or Ancestry? Well, I wanted it to make a checklist for the above tasks. So it created a checklist and it had all of this information. Well, I need it in a format that I can print off or that I can access. And so you remember how we said we can add it to Google Docs? I click on these three little dots and I say export to docs. And it's created the new document. So down in this left corner under Open Docs, I click on that and it's created a checklist. Now I can come in and when I've done it, I can digitally check it off or I can do it by hand. Is that not amazing? I am absolutely just like blown away about what it can do. And I know there's so many more things that it can do. If I didn't have Google Docs and I wanted to put it in a Word doc, just remember you come to this little 2 sets of paper and it's copy response, and then I can paste it into my Word doc. All right, let's see. We're going to stop sharing. All right, that was a fire hose about Google Gemini. This next week, I'm going to show you some other ways that you can use Google Gemini with records that are very difficult to read and records that are in another language. So if you have family from another country and you want to get into it, but you're a little intimidated, we will show you some things next week that will help you become so excited about doing this work for your family in other lands. My invitation to you this week, go find something that you have in your house that you've been meaning to get recorded. Go see if you can find one of these family group sheets and see if you can find a task list or create a task list from one of these, and then go to Family Search and compare the information. Another invitation is once you get this digitized or transcribed, copy it and paste it into your family tree. Thank you for joining, and we will see you next week. And let me know how it went. We will talk to you soon.